morning, joyous people of Nigeria. Of course, I can see that everybody is bright here today. I want to stand, as we say in Nigeria, on existing protocol so that I don't elongate the list. But please, it is not out of disrespect. It's just to save time. And I see that one of these activities, which is mine, may be standing between the relaunching of the book and other events. So let me be very brief. Maybe 5-10 minutes, I'll be out of here. I must recognize the author for this effort and also do me the honor of inviting me here to present a keynote address. When he invited me and gave me the title of his book, I said to myself that what else can we say about Nigeria when you already have the soundbites of a whole administration, and Nigeria's situation is a rolling cycle, so really nothing is new. I must say this, debatable, but I think really nothing is new. So I decided then to have a family table discussion, just any random topic, to remind ourselves of really what Nigeria is in perspective in the contemporary. And maybe we remind us, and then we also wake us up to be more aggressive about where we should be. I met the author when he was in a second life student at Ife. Great Ife, by the way, great Ife. He came in as a student, and I was that tiny lecturer at the university. And I said, what are you doing here? He said, no, I have my focus. I must do what I have to do. And of course, really, yes, he was a student, but I had some inspiration from him that never say die. You just must continue pushing until you achieve all you have to do. And congratulations. Well, from that small little room in the boys' quarter, now we have the owner of mansions and one of the greatest names in Nigeria. But quickly to the topic which I decided to speak to, which is the Nigeria's unfulfilled global community expectations. Nigeria unfulfilled global community expectation. Why will I want to discuss this at this time? Is that seriously, Nigeria is at crossroads and is also at a point that it appears it has the least of respect. We must speak truth to each other. Despite all our efforts, we still are not commanding the respect that we deserve. So why don't we discuss why we are here, why we are at this spot, why are we not where the rest of the world expects us to be? So let's remind ourselves of our history and know clearly that where the disappointment is, and in the balance of Gen Zs, where we are falling our hand, is really that the rest of the world believes that we are not managing the resources in our hands well enough. This is my own analysis, that really is that we're endowed with all sorts of resources. About 924 square kilometer land, fertile, good climate, filled with all sorts of resources, and human beings that are very handsome and beautiful, well constructed. No dwarfs in Nigeria. We are all well constructed, intelligent people, yet So this is what we need to remind ourselves on. How did we get here? Well, we know that in the days before the colonial masters, we were quite independent people, having our own ways of life, having our freedom. Of course, there are skirmishes here and there, and sometimes the stronger will conquer the, but it's largely autonomous societies. And then the Big Bang, the thunder, the colonial masters came and integrated us with intention that diversity is strength. But as the days go by, we find that we're emphasizing our differences and really not our commonness. So, confronted with this, many attempts were made. Many attempts were made, both at the global and at the internal level. Maybe I should just also remind myself of what I had yesterday from referred Ambassador Gambari when he was giving his lecture in Ibadan yesterday. He said that President Rawlings was a guest of Prime Minister John Major, and he was given 1 hour for the interaction. But 45 minutes of the discussion was on Nigeria, pleading with John Major that he should not allow Nigeria to disintegrate. That if Nigeria did, that there will be no Ghana, because the sheer size of Nigeria and where they go, where they spill over and all sorts of things means disaster for Ghana. And so the rest of the world also considers us like that. But so why should we not then hold that position strongly and without really wanting to impress the rest of the world, but manage our resources well in a way that will be admirable to the rest of the world? Attempts were made. We had 1916 independence, parliamentary system, just to have a governance arrangement that will manage the resources equitably to the benefit of citizens. But then quickly we went into the Republican with also parliamentary arrangements, and then the military coup. And our story has not been the same since that time. Because before then, yes, we were fairly autonomous, and in the negotiation, the Lancaster House 1957-58 negotiation, we tried to negotiate these differentiated commonalities in a way that we could really be at our best. But then 1966 coup brought unitarization, and subsequent constitutions has found it very difficult to go back to a regime where healthy competitiveness was the watchword. So, and I can see the quest for constitutional reform all over and over. Those of us who are politicians and know better than me, I can see the direction. It's really to go back to that situation where we can have an arrangement where we will have healthy competition. Be yourself at your best in togetherness. So, really, you can see where this falling of hand is coming from. But then, it's not just all bad news, because Nigeria that I knew as a young guy, when I went to do sabbatical at University of Zimbabwe, in those days the only university, you find Nigeria was a frontline state. Nigerians were there as foot soldiers, not even Nigerian soldiers, Nigerian civilians who are converted to be combatants. They were there. And resources of Nigeria were put in. So is the story of ECOMOG, story of Sudan, all over. We have that respect there. Let us build on that. In reconstructing ourselves, as said by the MC, this is some kind of reminder of a FEC, of a Federal Executive Council meeting, where strong decisions are taken. So these, you are the builders. We are the builders. We will construct the future. So where I'm pushing to is that briefly, we should identify what our issues really are. And then find a way to solve them. Notably, rule of law, bending of rule of law, and very weak institutions, extremely weak institutions, and the consequences of weak institution, which is anything goes. But the anything goes today, we more or less pick out and say is corruption. But if you really look at the root of all of this, corruption can be taken out with rule of law, strong institutions, and of course, strong morality. Today, you find that because we have weak institutions, because we have not so much bending of rule of law, immorality is rising. Then because resources are not so optimally managed, you find our youth unemployed, largely. And youth, they are restless as a group of people. They must find employment for themselves. So comes Yahoo Yahoo. So comes drugs. So all sorts of things. Of course, they are also very creative. So comes the entertainment world. But that's not really how to manage resources and optimize resources. So we need to tackle that. Rule of law, strong, and strong institutions. We also must address why we are losing faith in the instruments that could really put us together and believe in ourselves. And that is the election. Today is a major, you must tell the truth to each other. There's loss of faith in the process. As strongly as we try to make believe that really elections can be done properly, everything will be transparent, we still have a large part of our population who don't believe. That's an area we need to work strongly on. Those who don't believe must believe by doing what we think will make them believe. And that is your vote counts. Let our vote count. Let's work strongly. Because really, the consequences of ignoring what we have now is anarchy. Nobody wants anarchy. Please, our elders, my contemporaries, those who are younger, let's work together to save Nigeria through a credible electoral system. We should not also, I know there will be a lot of discussions on what we should reform, what we should not reform, but there's one thing that sticks out strongly, and that is the outcome of elections that enables a winner-take-all outcome. winner take all. No, we should say no to that. Let's reconstruct in a way that even when you have lost, you have a stake. When you have lost, okay, I will round up. Thank you. Way forward, let me just read that. Is that over the last decade and a half, our declining performances both at the foreign scene and the worsening internal situation have resulted in voices being raised at the disturbing level of elite delinquent behavior. It is believed in many quarters that most elites have contributed to Nigeria's decline and less than sterling performance at various levels, including involvement in the hydra-headed problem of corruption. People are now asking whether Nigeria can be restored or improved. Nigeria's democracy, with the introduction of the presidential system of government, is too expensive. I think I'm giving a minute more, so let me just go to my postscript. There is this pamphlet is available, so you can really please share it, and people can have a flip into this. So my postscript is that, one, President Trump's derogation of Nigeria is a wake-up call. Let's rise to the occasion, prove our worth, and not just be reactionary. Secondly, having practiced the present constitution for some years now, and having identified some defects in the constitution, constitutional amendment is long overdue. In the main, to decentralize some administrative arrangement, some aspects of security, resource control, embracing single tenure for executive elected offices. In the body, I explain why, but I think while you were in the university, we used to have 2 terms for vice chancellors. The vice chancellor will enjoy only 2 years. The remaining 6 years, if he got a second term, he was combating all sorts of manners of things. But if what you have, when we reduce ourselves to a 4-year single term, he has peace. You are coming only once, you will soon go. 4 years, you will go. I think if you had that kind of expectation, maybe this is one reason I'm just suggesting that eliminating winner takes all, as I said, and including opposition in government. Priorities of governance should include adherence to rule of law, good governance, and sustenance of strong institutions. And that we should know that the reality world is changing and dynamic. A people that will survive and be abreast must be dynamic, forward-looking, and adaptive. We must embrace all these attributes so that the world's moving train will not leave Nigeria behind. We must confront the challenges in reality. We must be sincere with ourselves. So help us God. Thank you.